So, I watched what could, I guess, be considered a sort of stereotypical kind of movie. I got to admit it's fairly hard to find anything comedic that isn't also a rom-com. As I think rom-coms predominate in the comedy category. Absolutely, but it's really difficult. I need to wade through a lot of rom-coms to get through just comedies, and unless there's a site that excludes romance as well from comedy, etc. Anyway, I just decided not to care for that today and watched one. I guess maybe it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't spectacular either as usual. These things are always like this. Like I don't remember the last time I watched a interesting, I suppose, unique rom comedy, fairly stereotypical usually. Kind of like horror in the sense they're all fairly tropey, you know. They all got their own thing as well, very much so. This one had something different. It's called So You Say Yes, and yeah, it's very lame, sort of lame name, I guess. I don't know, or whatever. I guess they consider it. So what interested me though from the synopsis was the fact that she was marrying a son of a rival. So that's a bit unique, I guess. At least I don't remember any other time where I watched exactly that scenario. And yeah, it sort of worked as but what didn't work though, yeah, is the fact that she changed her her his mother changed her tune so easily, so quickly. I mean, sure, she was still domineering, but she still changed it very quickly, as opposed to being really. I mean, sure, I guess one could say they didn't exactly meet much before then, but she already felt negative about her, and suddenly somehow, I mean, I don't know how realistic it is, or normal circumstances, you have a create a time lapse, or even more likely, I guess, you just ignore the parents. I guess why not? So anyway, beyond the realism, though, obviously one doesn't watch movies exclusively for realism. I mean, rom-coms are supposed to be somewhat realistic, but sometimes they're not. I suppose it's yeah. So it it was okay, I guess, at best, but yeah, not exactly the most exciting thing ever. Uh, the fact that they had a lot of, I don't know, just uh, it wasn't really, though, as I said, very unique in many respects. It was fairly by the books, as such. uh, yeah. And obviously there was this on and off relationship as well, on and off sort of pattern. And yeah, I don't know. I guess they didn't depict the romance so badly, though. I mean, it sort of makes sense what happened and such. I mean, I guess it would be more stereotypical if indeed they went on a air balloon and then sailed in the sunset, like was discussed at one point. So this wasn't that stereotypical. It was off a bit, but reflecting the character of the female companion. And but otherwise, I mean, it was still fairly by the books, I suppose, in terms of most things that happen, and obviously concluding with their marriage, very to be expected. Uh, But otherwise, I suppose it made sense. The comedy, on the other hand, it was comedic sometimes, but very few and far in between. It's not really there very much really. I mean, I did find myself laughing sometimes, but only infrequently. Not really very much. Just yeah. I suppose kind of like, mm, yeah, not that much. I mean, hiding behind some structure until they're found out by, and when they discover who his mother is and such. I don't know, they made it seem like it was comedic, but I didn't find it very comedic personally. So, yeah, other than that, I don't know what was. This is the thing. I mean, it was more of a romance than a comedy, honestly. And I actually went there for all the comedy, but this is sometimes how it turns out. I mean, most rom-coms aren't even mostly romance, so I guess there's something. Uh, but yeah, the comedy is still a bit vague. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I can barely remember any instances. Yeah, yeah, obviously that there was this repeated instance of his mother continually mispronouncing things, but obviously it got a bit repetitive. Not that she said the same word, but like Twitter and Friendbook and Blur as opposed to blog. Suppose it was kind of sort of funny, but very mildly funny. So I didn't they rely too much on it as well for comedy, so it's not quite there. On the other hand, I mean, I don't know what else. That's what she did. That was mildly funny, but other than that, I cannot recall much that the female companion did that was funny. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, all she did is just manage her shop and her love life. So other than that, I guess there were the script. I guess what did there was a bit of that, but just a few bits here and there. Really, not really very memorable ones. So in that sense, it's not quite above average. It's at best average, I think. Whatever average is. It's one of those things, I suppose. I mean, comedy is self-subjective, and just didn't think there was much of it. Obviously, the focus was more on the personalities themselves, the supposed romance, and everything in between. So, but yeah, whatever. I mean, it's what it is. Really, it wasn't too bad. I didn't quite get at the beginning in the first half hour where he kept mentioning that she had a bridal store to people, random people, when he didn't really want her to know who his mother was, and yet kept mentioning to people who knew his mother. Kind of an absurd thing, if you want to avoid it, just don't mention the bride part of it at all. But yeah, other than that, I mean, certainly wasn't some sort of movie that made me interested in bridal stores or something, kind of like I guess I don't know. But the vegetable store I watched recently, that did make me a bit curious, but not this, not at all. Then it's a movie. I don't know. Maybe it's a difference between movies and series. But yeah, it's I just wished it had a bit more comedy in it, though. Just mentioning different cuisines and such is eclectic, but it's not quite comedy. Well, I guess it falls more under the romance genre, I guess, in this sense. Obviously, there was that thing, yeah, where she burned everything when she tried to cook, and they ended up with a pizza. Suppose that was a bit of her comedy as well. But yeah, other than that, I'm not sure what else there is. Honestly, there was the a bit at the end when it rained, just after they said it's a perfect wedding. In the last 2 minutes, they fit that in. But that's the thing; it was so rushed in. It seems, just 3 minutes, and then somehow they still ended up making. Yeah, I was thinking since it was so close to the end, they would just do it off screen or something. It was a bit rushed, and that's what makes me think it's possibly even below average as a sort of it's not really the most exciting thing. It's just stereotypical, I mean, what else do you expect? Yeah, a marriage. Wow, it's very very unpredictable, isn't it? Yeah, except it was planned for the last half hour, so one of those things, I guess. It's a mediocre movie, really, but I've seen worse. I've seen better as well. So whatever, I suppose.